Have you ever wondered why, in the office, in organizations, or even on a national scale, the nicest and most honest people rarely reach the top? Meanwhile, those who seem cold, manipulative, and slightly arrogant sit comfortably in the leader's chair with incredibly loyal followers. We've been taught since childhood that to be successful, one must be kind, humble, and helpful. But if you look through a clearer lens of logic, reality often tells a different story. Power has a very specific magnetic field, and that magnet usually sticks more strongly to those who possess what psychologists call the dark triad, or dark personalities. Welcome back to Arc Power Play. In this third episode, we're going to dissect something that might give you chills, but it's something you absolutely need to know so you don't become prey in the outside world. We will break down 5 dark traits that, paradoxically, make an individual an unshakable leader. This isn't to be imitated blindly, but to understand the underlying logic. Let's break down the logic one by one. Number 1. Machiavellianism, the strategic chess master, the pragmatist. We begin with a trait named after a 16th century Italian diplomat, Niccolò Machiavelli, Machiavellianism. The core logic of this trait is the end justifies the means. For a Machiavellian, the world is a giant chessboard, and everyone around them is a pawn that can be moved to achieve a specific target. Why does this trait make someone a strong leader? Because they are intensely pragmatic. They don't care about emotional drama or people's feelings if those things hinder efficiency. A Machiavellian leader will say, "We have to lay off 50 people now so that 500 others can keep their jobs." Cold, yes. Cruel, perhaps. But systemically, that decision often saves the organization. The psychological mechanism is the ability to separate morality from strategy. They don't hate their pawns, they simply see the pawns as tools. In a world full of uncertainty, leaders who are too emotional are often paralyzed when they must make bitter decisions. A Machiavellian will not hesitate, and that decisiveness is ironically what makes the masses feel safe, because someone is brave enough to take on the dirty responsibility. Number 2. Narcissism, the magnet of charisma craving adoration, the grandiose visionary. The second trait is narcissism. Forget the popular definition of someone who loves taking selfies in front of a mirror. The logic of narcissism in leadership runs much deeper. It's about the absolute conviction that they are special, genius, and entitled to the highest position. Why does narcissism act as fuel for leadership? Because the masses need a vision. Narcissistic people are experts at creating grand narratives. They don't say, "We will try to fix this slowly." They say, "I will lead you to a glory you have never imagined." This overflowing self-confidence is contagious to their followers. Biologically, narcissism provides a sort of shield against criticism. While others doubt, the narcissist remains upright because in their head, they're the hero of their own story. They need an audience, and they will do anything to keep that audience mesmerized. As a result, they often become highly inspiring leaders, even if the original motive is the satisfaction of their personal ego. We follow them not because they care about us, but because we want to be part of the glory they promise. Number 3. Psychopathy, the cold-blooded executor, the stress-proof leader. This is the most extreme trait, psychopathy. Don't imagine a serial killer from a horror movie. Imagine a CEO whose heart rate doesn't change even slightly when their company faces bankruptcy, or when they have to face an angry mob. The logic of psychopathy in leadership is stress resilience. They have very low levels of empathy, which paradoxically becomes an advantage in crisis situations. They don't feel guilt, they don't feel fear, and they have no social anxiety. When everyone else panics, they can still think clearly because the alarm system in their brain, the amygdala, doesn't overreact like a normal person. A leader with a certain level of psychopathy can conduct very tough negotiations without feeling intimidated. They can look their opponent in the eye without blinking. This ability to stay cold under immense pressure is often perceived as an unshakable authority by their followers. It's not that they don't have emotions, they just have absolute control to not let those emotions interfere with their strategic logic. Number 4. Dark Triad Nuances, the symphony of organized darkness. After we've dissected those 3 components, Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy, we need to understand how they work together, known as the dark triad nuances. It is very rare for a leader to have only one trait. They usually have the perfect blend. The logic is, narcissism gives them the drive to rise to the top, ambition. Machiavellianism gives them the map to get there, strategy, and psychopathy gives them the courage to remove anyone in their way, execution. This is the complete human management package at a high level. Why are these leaders hard to shake? Because they fill each other's gaps. Their narcissism makes them liked by the masses, while their psychopathic side protects them from the mental exhaustion of criticism. This combination creates a figure that looks perfect on the outside, but is controlled on the inside. They know when to smile sweetly, narcissist, and when to stab from behind, Machiavellian. In the eyes of systemic logic, they are highly efficient predators in the ecosystem of power. Number 5. Ambition drive, the biopsychological engine that never dies. Finally, the pillar that moves everything, ambition drive. This trait is a blend of biology and the subconscious desire to dominate. This is an evolution of what we discussed in the previous episode regarding the brainstem. The logic of this ambition is addiction. For an unshakable leader, power is no longer about money or facilities, but about the dopamine hit. Every time they win a negotiation or successfully control the masses, their brain releases satisfying chemicals that make them want more and more. This is a primitive urge to survive by being at the top of the food chain. This ambition often makes them sacrifice everything, family time, health, even their moral reputation, for one thing: victory. This drive is so strong that they cannot stop even after reaching the peak. This is why rulers are often reluctant to step down. It's not because they love the position, but because their brains are addicted to the control that the position provides. Ambition is the engine that never dies within their individual seed. So, why do these dark traits actually produce unshakable leaders? Logically, it's because the world we compete in isn't the rainbow-filled kindergarten. The reality of power is harsh, competitive, and often unfair. These dark traits function as an adaptive mechanism. In the wild, an individual who weighs feelings too heavily will lose to an individual who focuses on results. Leadership requires structure, and structure often requires a firmness that borders on cruelty. Society, consciously or not, often grants power to those who possess these traits, because they are seen as the most capable of guarding the group from external threats. However, there is a fine line between a firm leader and a tyrant. These dark traits are like cooking spices. If balanced, the food is delicious and appetizing, effective leadership. If overused, the food becomes a deadly poison, dictatorship. A truly genius ruler knows how to hide these dark traits behind the mask of noble policy. Thank you for watching until the end. If you like how we explain complex things to make them make more sense, don't forget to follow Synoptic. We will continue to discuss many everyday things that are actually fascinating as long as they are explained the right way. Synoptic, the world simplified, one thought at a time.